Right, semi more relaxing day today. I don't have to rush or anything like that, and the schedule is pretty predictable. There was something funny I saw today. Anyone use Google Maps today? If so, you may notice that you can play Pac-Man on it. I actually tried it for a little bit, and I tried to do like the traditional Pac-Man maneuvers, like try to get the ghost close and then like eat the power pills and eat the ghost up, but I couldn't get the controls to work. At first I thought pressing left would go left, but instead it made it go backwards and whoop, that's it, I died. So yeah, I guess that's just something a little fun for people to do. Although it was supposed to be an April Fool's joke, so I guess it released a little early. Will this create distracted drivers? The other wacky news I read was, it was something about there was a video of somebody wondering where like a person was, and apparently the whole body was inside like this python that ate the person up. Oh my goodness. Warning for all you that want to watch the video, I mean I'll link it, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. And once again, everything's growing pretty fast. I still haven't heard back from a lot of those drone insurance companies, so I haven't been able to report anything back. Some of them I've inquired, like they had office address and stuff, so now I was wondering, like I even asked them, like, okay, can people just like, drop by to have basic questions, and so far no one's gotten back or anything. What's with the customer service in the drone insurance industry? Is there not enough competition or something like that? Or is it just that too brand new where, everyone doesn't really have a system for it, where it's mostly just for huge organizations, if that makes sense, as opposed to like individuals? It was actually an interesting comment, which is something I had heard before, where even though like a lot of the laws, and I guess just from regular outside people that read the news, they just said, okay, whatever, the law makes like sense to me. If you want to fly, go get an SFOC, for example. And this person actually made a pretty good point, where for him as a commercial flyer, like if a person like me thinks that like, getting an SFOC means I can just fly it like normal before, the only difference is as if I have a driver license, basically I'm mistaken, because you still have to follow like all these like regulations and so forth, filling out paperwork and all that. And I think that's kind of interesting. Like it makes me still want to try to go through the process, because if that's people's idea of, yeah, the laws are fine, just go get registered, it kind of eliminates like the whole hobbyist part of like flying a drone and stuff still. So maybe once I get some more knowledge of it, maybe I'll actually try it still. But yeah, that's still an interesting point, where SFOC isn't the answer, I guess, even for like a regular person. What is this? Guess there was a wedding here today. This is your example of the size of the geese again, which I know a lot of people like to compare with the drones. Alright, and all this basically leads me to my next topic I wanted to talk about. And as you all know, last time when I looked at Transport Canada's tweet about their interpretations of drone laws in commercial, I thought it was pretty ridiculous. So I thought, let's see what Mr. Garneau has to say about drones recently, ever since he passed that ridiculous interim law. And as you can see here, he had a tweet here which is pretty recent, and it says, "Relief that this incident was not catastrophic," and then the hashtag drone safety. It linked to some article here which I read, and apparently it was about some drone that almost hit Prince William's helicopter or something like that. And it was like really dramatic and all that, but actually they didn't really release too much details. So I can't verify like the accuracy of this or anything like that, but bottom line, it's one of those, news stories that tries to get attention based on like hot buttons, like what people are really afraid of currently. Well, I'm not very familiar with UK news sources and how credible this outlet is. Like, I don't know if it's normally like a propaganda tabloid type of thing, or if it's more for entertainment. But it's kind of disturbing that a transport minister was actually retweeting this. Because in many ways, it makes me think again, like I felt anyways, these new laws were very rushed, like in an emotional manner, as opposed to a rational one with the consultation of actual drone users and all. And if this is actually how he gets his information and stuff, like just reading like random news on internet sites and so forth about drone crashes, I mean, in my opinion, that's ridiculous. I mean, on the flip side, it would be like me, for example, just watching good videos of drones and so forth, and then saying, oh yeah, there should be no restrictions, people should be able to fly within like, 5 centimeters or whatever away from a flying airplane, no problem, because I haven't seen anything. I mean, they're even common sense. You have to take like both sides of the spectrum. Even I would say, yeah, there's idiots out there, so there has to be some kind of like rule restriction in that case. But if Marc Garneau is actually only reading stuff like this to make his decisions, and because the public has such a lack of knowledge of the issue, oh my goodness, it's like no wonder like these laws are so dumb. He's basically just catering like for, in many ways, in my opinion, it's like catering for public recognition or sympathy or whatever you want to call it, like as if he's super credible. And if you have to rely on sources like this, in my opinion, you have no credibility in terms of trying to make laws for drone users, especially recreational people that fly like in open fields and all that, like really safely. Like, show me the facts, the data. What did you look at? The crashes, the incident reports. Show it to the public. I mean, retweet those to you know, assure us that this wasn't like an emotional decision. If you retweet stuff like this shows me that you're straw grasping in many ways to try and justify your stupid laws at this point. And I was just reading some tweets from other people, like the replies, and yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, for other people that are saying too, if this is how Marc Garneau is getting his information, that is kind of ludicrous. And this guy actually had an interesting comment. He was saying something about in the UK there was a drone incident that was reported before, like from pilots saying, oh no, it's a drone coming, but it ended up being something like a plastic bag. That's kind of funny, because even with the video I released yesterday, again, I'm wondering how many of these incidents or reports are actually drones as opposed to just like the general public fear of the new technology and so forth, if that makes sense. Because like in many cases, I don't doubt like this is probably very common. Like someone sees something in the air now, like an airport, and they go, it must be a drone. And then, you know, everyone blames it. And then, yeah, we just got one big mess. Now, one of the most interesting tweets I saw, for me personally, was someone actually asked Marc Garneau. He's assuming he actually read this whole article. And as you can see, Garneau actually said, I did. Now, this is kind of the funny thing for me personally, because I'm not too familiar with all the drone laws and stuff in the UK. But in this actual article here, it states here, drones are usually limited to flying beneath 400 feet. They can fly higher if they weigh less than 3.5 kilograms and have an onboard camera with a live feed and an observer overseeing the operator. And I was thinking about that, about these laws. Aren't these laws actually more reasonable than the ones here in Canada? Again, I didn't read the whole thing, but I just thought that was kind of funny, because whether or not he actually read stuff like this before he retweeted it, or he just looked at the headline saying, drone, crash, safety, pump it out, get my public image like higher in terms of justifying my law so people don't like scold me and so forth. Oh man, it's like one of these things. It just takes like a more common sense, down to earth person could create a better law, in my opinion, at this rate. I mean, what do you guys think about that? Again, I'm really trying to give the benefit of the doubt that, you know, a person like him is just completely misinformed, but reading stuff like this doesn't really paint a really good picture. Where again, it just seems like he's purposely doing this for some odd reason that I don't know, and I don't think it has anything necessarily to do with safety per se as the main factor, unfortunately, just based on all the facts that I see and what they have presented out in the public so far. Alright, all this made me want to edit like a drone footage and stuff to look through the old archives, so let's see what I can come up with. I actually could have flew today, but you know, because of the law I can't here, I'm assuming anyways, based on the 75 meter thing. But yeah, let's see what I can come up with. let's see what I can come up with in the weekend, if I can find anything interesting in terms of like flying the drone and so forth. I haven't had time really to find hiking locations and stuff, as I've been swamped with work and stuff like that. Yeah, other than that, hopefully people like start spreading the message, because in my opinion, stuff like this with this Garneau guy is, man, okay, wow. Anyways, see you guys later.